Hey guys, so I am doing a replay of one of my games that I did with Deckard Cain. I recorded this entire game with a friend, well, with two friends, Kilfie, as well as, where's the other one? Track and Matt. And it was, everything was going great, but the audio was messed up. So my voice was very, very quiet, and their voices were to the point that it would make your ears bleed because they were so loud. And I didn't realize that it was like that in OBS because all the little bars looked fine. But when I actually was doing it, it was just really bad. So this is Deckard Cain. Let me get on Deckard Cain so you can see my cooldowns and you can see kind of what I'm doing. Fight gets started. I start out with just getting some roots out, and you'll see right as people start taking a little bit of damage, I'll start getting healing potions out. What I should be doing is getting healing potions out ahead of time so that people can get heals out. But again, I think that's something that I'll practice eventually. Deckard Cain's a little strange because you need to be using your abilities ahead of time, and it's a weird feeling to do that. But you can set out 5 potions before you even get in that initial fight, so definitely should be doing that. Now on Braxxis, I feel like Deckard Cain is actually a really good character. I think he's probably going to be one of the better healers because people cluster a lot in here, which is great for these abilities, as well as you can put a whole bunch of healing potions here, which is great for your team to win the fights. So I just keep staying near some allies so that I can keep tossing healing potions, and I keep trying to throw them in random areas. And the reason why is because if a fight appears here, I want to heal here. If a fight appears here, I want to heal here. So I keep throwing healing potions up here, up here, down here. And I haven't quite figured out a good pattern yet, so we'll see what works out and what doesn't. Oh yeah, this game I decided to go with Scroll of Identity first. The other game, while I was doing the Deckard Cain like testing, I tried every talent at level 1, I tried every talent at level 4, I've tried every talent at level I tried 2 of the talents at 7, not Emerald, both ults, as well as every talent at level 13. I've tested out every talent at level 16, and then at 20 I've tested out the Respect Elderly, the Mornados, as well as Perfect Gems. I don't remember what I've gone this game, and I was in a game where someone did Bottomless Flask. So essentially, I've tested every single ability with the exception of Emerald and the level the Bottomless Flask. But I've seen Bottomless Flask in use. It has its uses, but I feel like, and I could be completely wrong on this, but I feel like it gets most of the value if Deckard Cain is dead, and it's not as much value if he's still alive. But we're going to keep this going, and this game I test out Scroll of Identity because I want to see how long it would take to get this, get all of this quest completed. And it takes a bit of time. That's one of the things that I think is frustrating about it, is because you place out your Scroll of Sealing, and the enemies can just walk away. And I always toss out my E first, and then I toss out my W, which makes it to where even when I land my E, or when I send out my E, they get slowed so that there's a higher chance of them staying in the E. So it's rough. It's not an easy thing to land. It just takes so long, and it's pretty easy to dodge. I think half the reason that I can land it so easily in this is because people aren't used to Deckard's abilities yet, so it's a lot easier for them to just leave. But the reason that it's such a interesting talent is because if you upgrade it, well, one, it reveals them for a while. So on a map like this, you can see if you hit someone, there's 8 seconds you can see if they rotate. Like, watch this. I have vision on both of them. I could see if they decide to rotate up to top, and I can tell my team to go help them out. I decided to go Ruby, and now here's the thing about Ruby. So what happens is I toss out my Roderick Cube, and when it hits enemies, it's going to leave these little red potions. But what I found is kind of a problem with Ruby is you throw this out on their whole team and you get a whole bunch of healing potions, but if your team's not a dive team, you're not getting any healing from this. So I feel like in a dive team it's going to be okay, but even in a dive team, the healing doesn't exactly go where you want it to go. So we were kind of discussing this, that in a dive team it might be better to go with Potion of Shielding and just throw that out in front, and then as your team's going in, not only are they getting heals, but they're also getting shield. As opposed to Ruby. Now, Ruby has the highest healing out of all of these. What I mean by that is your regular healing potion is 269 healing, yet this is 222 with 3 of them, so it's 666 healing at level 4. That's, I mean, that's almost triple like a healing potion. It's crazy. It's a lot of healing. The problem is that it's very sporadic, and a lot of the healing ends up on the other side of the person. So let's say there's 2 people here. Half the healing potions are going to end up on the back of the person, and you're never going to see them. So I don't know. I think it's going to be good with Sonya, who's going to be like moving in and out of the enemy team. Or maybe like Leoric, who's going to be like using his around the enemy team. And they could just go and pick up a couple healing potions and they're back to full health. But Ruby, currently I feel like I'm really debated on this talent. In theory, the healing's really, really high, but in practice, it's just the healing potions end up in places that you just don't want them to be. So I think in fights, Potion of Shielding's better, and outside of fights, Rejuve Potion's better. But I do Ruby in this game, and again, I just feel like a lot of the potions get wasted. So again, I reveal them so we can see where the enemies are. I think the value of this is okay. And if you get the quest completed, it doubles the reveal duration, as well as it gives reduces the enemy's armor by 15, meaning you do 15% more damage to all of the enemies. It's a little bit more than that, because it's removing armor, right? Because it's not you increasing your damage by 15%, it's removing some of theirs. So it's a little bit more than that, I believe. But I don't know, I don't feel like doing the math right now, it's pretty early. But again, I do Ruby. We get some of the little healing potions, so we get a little bit of value out of it this time. I think if you use it off cooldown, it could be definitely a great tool, but I was hoping it was going to be the answer to team fights, to give healing during team fights, and it's not quite that. Maybe it just needs to be in different team comps. No, it's pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, this, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting talent. Now, if you get Scroll of Identity, you should be getting Cube Mastery. I believe I get Kanai's Cube on this game, but you should be getting Cube Mastery. What this does is it makes it where when you land a W, your E comes off cooldown faster. So you do your E first, then your W, and then your E, as long as you're next to a person, you'll have it off cooldown in, like, I don't even know, 5 to 6 seconds. And then, depending on how many people you hit with your W, and you get a lot of value. This is actually another reason why I like Deckard Cain, is I set up this entire area with healing potions. So we pretty much were able to keep, and I can heal him during the fight. All I just kept doing was tossing quick healing potions at him. But I could surround this whole area in healing potions, so we have a really high chance of keeping this objective for a long time. So I really like Deckard Cain for these maps with really long objectives. I think he struggles a little bit in short team fights until you get this talent. Oh, really? Yeah, until you get this talent at level 13. Yeah, so I still go with Kanai's Cube. I should have gone with Cube Mastery with this talent, but I was still testing out a variety of talents, and I was using Kanai's Cube as kind of my baseline because I just really like it, but I should have gone Cube Mastery, definitely. And then I believe I go Lornado on this map, but I didn't use it very well. This is the first map that I picked Lornado, and I really didn't use it very well. So I'm just, spoiler alert, we didn't get a lot of good use out of Lornado. So let me speed up this a little bit. During these fights, I like this because I was able to simply place an E right here. And the triangle just felt really nice right here too, because the vector targeting, the way that it works, not vector targeting, the way that the targeting works is the tip of the triangle is always on the opposite side of you, and the base of the triangle is always close to you. So the base of the triangle fit right along this, and then it went over here, and then over here. So it just felt really nice to place a triangle there. So if they have any melee, you either get a root on them, or they move out of the way, which means that they're not DPSing anything right here. So it was just really nice. You could see that I stack it up really quickly while we're just doing this objective here. Like I got it up to 12, and then in a couple seconds I go in, I toss in another one. You can see I got another one tossed in, and boom, hit 4 people with it. So I'm at 16 now. And I go in again. I get another one right here, and boom, quest complete. So, on the first objective, 7 minutes into the game, I was able to complete the quest, but that's just because it was on Braxxis, which we got an opportunity that they were just clustering together. So, it has its benefits, and in this particular case, on Braxxis, I do think Field Study or Scroll of Identify could be very good, because we're increasing the damage we deal to them. They're all clustered in this area. So, as much as I like Sapphire, I do think on Braxxis, either Field Study or Scroll of Identify might be better. My only fear about these is in high ranks, people move out of them so often. But when they're distracted by an objective or team fights and they're clustered in an area, you can see I'm getting a lot of value off of them. And again, every time my Q's off cooldown, you can see I'm tossing it at someone. I lured NATO'd to see if I could get them one person towards us. Because I was still thinking we were winning the fight. I should have just Lord NATO'd them away, but we still get out, so it's fine. I mean, one person dies, but the rest of us are fine. I may die here? I don't remember. No. And again, I did a ruby right there because I was going to see if I could get myself some healing. And then I just head out. I'm too low, but I call for retreat. I figured Genji could jump out. Now, Genji was just nerfed this patch. His E is a shorter range. But he also kind of got a buff because they buffed his damage and health, but they lowered the range of his E. So, if Genji gets a couple deaths here, it's not really his fault. Another thing with Deckard is you kind of have a little bit of a problem with what's it called? Well, you can see like the armor's gone. I landed one of these, and they'll be revealed for a long time. But Deckard, you have kind of a mini problem from Alexstrasza, where if you toss down a heal, sometimes the enemies will watch that, and they'll try to attack right where that heal was. So be careful about throwing them out. I usually recommend having a couple in safe places, and then I throw a couple aggressively. And again, I toss out the E first, which allows me to land, the E first, and then I do the W, and it slows them so I can land the E. It's really good. I like that. And again, another ruby was used here. And you can see, like, I get a little bit of value out of it every time, but I just don't feel like it's ever where I need the healing to be. Because the enemies are always moving around, and I just feel like ruby never really goes where I want it to be. So I don't know if it's good or if I'm just having really bad luck with it. We should have taken the keep right there. I was kind of just screwing around with stuff, and then I said, hey, let's do this camp, and then everyone just recalls and does their own thing. So I end up just doing a camp by myself and then end up leading my team to die. Just saying, skipping past all that because I caused that. I should have just left when Genji said that he was going AFK. So we get in here, and again, he's really good at slowing people, locking them down. Oh, they also changed the damage over time indicator. It's just a slightly different color, as well as it has new little bars in between the health, so you can see how much damage it's doing. Again, I go for a camp because I want to get some value out of us three, but I don't realize that there's no one top, which means that the enemies have no reason to be up here, so they're going to rotate down. Another bad call. I try to get everyone out with the Lornado, but it doesn't end up working. Alright. So, we're going to get into what it's like when you've made a couple mistakes and you need to still try to win the game. There's a big cluster of enemies. I might do a Ruby here, but again, if I Ruby down here, we get healing pots down here, and I don't actually need that. So, I'm going to just toss some healing pots back here. We're going to pretty much just give this, because there's nothing we can do about it. And with Deckard Cain, I don't have very much wave clear, so there's no point in me staying down bot by myself, right? I need to go up top, and I need to help clear this wave. So, I don't get a root off. I do get a slow. And I need to get a couple heals off on Lunara. And again, you can see, like, I'm pretty good at landing them where I want them to go, like right when I need the heal. But it still has a travel time, and it's still hard when people are all moving around. So a lot of times I find it better to just toss them out where you need them to be. I got a fountain ahead of time just in case if they would go for that. I go for a slow, and then I do the E. It was a different order, but it still ended up working. I rooted 2 people. And as you can see, I tossed a heal out to Lunara, but then she was immediately gone. So it's sometimes difficult to heal people when you want to. You can in with like big targets, but at other times it's very difficult because they'll move around and it does have a travel distance or travel time. So it's a difficult ability to use during fights that are very quick. But he thrives in quick fights because of his slows and his roots. So I need to back out, and I'm definitely dead here. So if they don't end here, they threw the game. Which you can see, spoiler alert, there's still a bar here. Because they don't end. They go and they do camps. They should have ended. And I noticed, like, in these, like, I'm playing with a couple random people, but also in PTR, to keep everything quick, you play against people of all ranks. So I don't know what rank everyone is in this game. As you can see, like, in some of the calls that I made, we just didn't even have a team. So, and we're missing our Genji right now. He just left the game. So you never really know. I'm going to set this whole choke point up with Qs, I believe. Oh, no, I don't. Because of I see the Chromie shooter Q through, so I don't do that. Again, I don't remember my exact thought process when I played this. This was yesterday. So, so again, we're going to try to get one of these, but a fight's showing up. Here's a situation. There's a few situations in here where I should have done so much more, and we could have won the fights a lot easier, but I kept doing really dumb decisions. Right here, I really should have used Lornado better, and I should have used my level 13 talent, which I didn't use. So I heal myself, and my other abilities are on cooldown, so I decide I'm going to Lornado. And I wanted to Lornado after the stun went off of Diablo, so that I could push anyone that was down here further away. What I did was I saw that Chromie was going to use her ult, so I threw out a Q first, so that when the person from Chromie's ult came back, let me just rewind for just a tad, because I think that if you're worried about Chromie like one-shotting people, Cain might be a pretty good option. So again, we go through this fight. After the stun goes off, I push people away a little bit. Right here. I think to toss a healing potion in there, but I don't know if I do it fast enough. No, because it was on cooldown. So I toss a healing potion, but sadly, it was too late. But the cool part about the healing potions is you can toss it out ahead of time, and then as they teleport back before Chromie's damage goes off, they get a little burst heal. And if you were to get this talent, which gives a shield, then you can save someone against a Chromie almost every time, because you can put a shield out on someone before they take damage, as well as healing. So it could be honestly, Cain could be a counter to Chromie, and I think it could be a pretty good counter to Chromie. That was something we were talking about this game. Right after I did that, they were like, this actually could work every time. So I'm just setting up a few healing potions mid, giving myself healing so if there's any burst, I don't need to worry about it. Then I back up and I set healing potions out, but people just go for them, which is fine. Sometimes I'm going to set up healing potions, sometimes I'm just trying to heal people, but it's tough. You usually want to tell your team what you want to do, and again, a big problem that I find with Deckard Cain is you need to set healing potions in places that people won't waste them. For example, if someone only has like 10 health missing and your healing potion's healing for nearly 500, you don't want to use this on someone with 10 health. So instead, you want to toss them outwards so that the only people that use them are the people that really need them. Now I have Lornado so we can still get this camp, so I keep calling it to do the camp, and I'll just toss a Lornado right here and we can get people away. I got feared, which is where we kind of made the mistake. I get a Lornado out, I think. I get a root out for sure. And again, I forget to use my fortitude. A bit early on practicing that talent, but this talent's so good, and I'll show you why this talent's so good later. Right here, we can kill this Gul'dan, and sadly the Lunara ends up leaving, which may end up getting me to die. But another thing that's cool about Deckard is he has a lot of single target healing. So if you're running away, it's pretty easy to stay alive. I killed him with my E. Another thing about this is the talent I got. Let me back up for a second because I want to show you how much damage I did to this Gul'dan. So at level 16, I don't really like any of his level 16 talents personally. Safety in numbers, the range of your trait is so small, I rarely get this. Even on teams, even on maps like Braxxis where you're all together, I rarely get it because the range is so small. Roderick's staff, it's good, but you can never use it offensively, so it's like half as good as a Uther E. So I just, again, I don't really like it that much. It's good if you've got like a dive hero on the enemy team like a Genji. You can stun him here and there every 5 seconds, but still, you stun him once and then he's still on you, you know? But this is the only one that I've been able to get consistent value out of, which increases it. You deal 200% more damage, which means that you're actually doing 3 times your damage with E, which right now it's 300 damage, meaning I will be doing 900 damage with it. Now, I want to show you a scenario where we're fighting this, we don't do very good here, and then we leave, right? I take a lot of damage, and there's 2 people following me. And then I use an E right here. I'm the red one. I did 900 damage and killed Gul'dan because there was 2 people in it. So you can get consistent value out of this one, but I find I get very little value out of either of these. I've only had one game where I got a lot of value out of this. And I got another kill with my E. This E late game starts doing a lot of damage, especially if you get this talent. You can really burst people down. And again, we're having a rough time with this. We almost lose. I make sure to go down here and take out the catapults because those are the ones that are still doing a lot of damage. We have 8% left on our base, but ours gets the keep, which is kind of nice. Kind of opens up a chance to win if we could just win one team fight. And I'm going to share something that the way we win the team fight is something that I expect to get nerfed. And I'll show you guys in a second. And I think we even lose another team fight here first. I don't remember because I was expecting them to be doing boss here. And so I was like, oh, this camp's free. We've got Lunara who's already pushing bot. I gave her some extra healing potions down there. So I was trying to keep vision on boss. And I was like, oh, they're definitely a boss. Boom, Varian comes down right as the camp's over. And we have a really bad fight. I should have I did a Lornado right here and pushed them away. And we probably could have still grabbed the camp. So we get a decent fight in here, but it ends up going bad very, very quickly. So we need to back up. Now, Diablo only lost his souls, which means that we're still in a decent position as long as the enemies don't just immediately go to end, which, again, I think they're lower rank, so they're probably not going to go to end. So we can go in for the fight here. We just need to know that Diablo's pretty low health, so it's going to be a little rough. Or, like, he's low health, he's low souls, which means that he's also low on spell armor. So it's going to be very rough. So I want to set up the fight a little bit with some potions. I want to get some heals out first. And now here's where this fight is going to go in our favor for a few reasons. And I'm going to show you why Deckard Cain may get nerfed and why he's actually really, really strong. So I'm going to take this fight really slowly and show you what happens. So I do an E first. Remember that my E does crit damage if there's multiple people in it. From here, I activate my Fortitude of the Faithful, which means, sorry, not my Fortitude of the Faithful, the Ancient Blessings, which means that everyone in my area, so everyone that gets this gold thing, for the next 8 seconds, even if they leave my area, for the next 8 seconds, every single auto attack they do does an extra 160 damage in an area and heals for 240 for each hero that they hit. So every attack that all of these people do are going to do AoE damage to both of them for the next 8 seconds and heal themselves. Not to mention that my E is about to activate on these two. So I'm going to do about 1,000 damage to these two, and everyone on my team is going to do AoE damage. Now watch how fast these die. Immediately. Immediately. I get auto attacks off because I know that I'm going to get healed for the next couple seconds. Now watch how fast Gul'dan dies from just auto attacks. Well, auto attacks and a couple other abilities, but it's so strong. This combo right here, if you cluster even 1 or 2 people, it's so strong. They call out for the objective. I just ping their base. That's all I do. I'm like, no. I'm like, we're gonna kill this guy with a W, and then we're just gonna ping their base, and we're gonna go win the game. So where the enemies decided, hey, let's get objectives and camps when we can win the game, I'm like, no, screw this. We're winning the game. So I go to win the game. I get more NATOs. Sadly, I don't get any value out of it because the game's over. I simply just toss it once at their base. I position to where I can more NATOs over there. Another scenario where I like Deckard is fighting these, because if you're fighting the core, you know where your tank's going to be taking the most damage, and it's easy to toss heals at him. So you can see I'm just tossing quick 500s at him. And then I see that the enemies are about to spawn. So I summon a more NATOs right here. And I get 2 hits off on it. Now, I want to show my stats before we end the game. And what I find about Deckard Cain is he leads to a lot of kills, as well as he does enough damage that he can get kills himself after level 16. But his wave clear and his hero damage is really low. Like, he really just doesn't do a lot to minions. He doesn't do a lot to towers. He doesn't do a lot to heroes. It's just not as high as a lot of the other supports. And that was with me, like, auto-attacking a lot, too. This is me doing everything. I won't be able to do half the damage that I was doing this game in real games, in real, like, Hero League games, because the enemies are just going to punish me if I try to auto-attack them. His healing seems comparable to a lot of the big healers right now. I feel like he heals a lot more, but you can't do it exactly where you want it to go. That's the main downside, is I think he heals more than a lot of people. But again, even with Stukov, you can't always do the healing where you want it to be. You're going to be healing everyone, even though you might want to heal a single target. So, pros and cons. I think when people get better with a Deckard on their team, they'll get better with picking up healing potions when they really need it and avoiding healing potions when they don't need it. And I think that's where Deckard's going to get stronger and his win rate's going to go up, but I think that his win rate's going to go down because people are going to be better at dodging his E, which makes it to where there's really back and forth on how his win rate's going to be. Guaranteed, if they don't nerf Ancient Blessings, he's probably going to be sitting at a really high win rate. And then if they nerf this, his other level 13 talents are okay. I think it's fine. And then level, I personally would prefer this if it was a 15-second. Sorry, I think the best nerf to this is if this was like a 10-second cooldown, but it only gave 1 proc to everyone in your area. That way, every 10 seconds you activate this, and it gives a burst damage, but then you have to keep activating it. When you activate it, and it's pretty much on for about 1/3 of the time, it's way too strong. Because this makes it to where you win all short fights, and then your potions allow you to win all long fights. So the only fights you have trouble with is like medium length fights, where they're like sitting around like 20 seconds for a fight. But you have other abilities to help with those. But yeah, overall, I think Deckard's going to be a very strong healer. Do I think he's going to be top tier? I don't know. Again, the healing's a little crazy. It doesn't always go where you want it to go. And it can make it really rough. I think that he's going to be top tier on maps like Braxxis and on Volskaya, where the fights are very long and the positioning keeps going in and out, in and out, in and out through the fights. So I definitely think that he's going to be top tier on those maps. But I'm not sure about some of the other maps. For example, maybe like Garden of Terror, I think is going to be tough. Everyone's moving around. You don't have very many opportunities to throw heals ahead of times. A lot of the main tank that they have is immune to CC because they're going to be having the plant tank in a lot of situations, and the plant can just move around. Dragonshire might have the same problem. You're not going to be sitting still for very long, but you will be sitting still in like the bottom lane for a while. So I don't know. I think there's going to be maps that he's really good at, and there's going to be maps that he's iffy at. But there is also the benefit that you can throw healing potions in one lane and go into another lane, which means that he can kind of work on a map like Towers of Doom as a pseudo-global. What I mean by that is you can prepare a fight before the objective spawns by putting a whole bunch of healing potions there, and then you can mount up and you can go head up to the next objective. You can immediately get like the top right tower or top left tower, whichever side you're on, and then you can head down and join your team, and they still had 5 heals of, I don't know, a huge chunk of health, like a 1/7 of their health. They have 5 of those, and then you've been healing them the whole time, and you get back down to the fight and you can join your team. So he has a lot of potential for a lot of different maps, and I think as long as they keep him in balance, he could be a safe pick on nearly any map. I don't think that he's going to outshine like a Malfurion or a Stukov anytime soon. As long as his abilities are tuned correctly, I don't think that he's going to outshine anyone. But I do think that he's going to be a viable pick instead of anyone. And there's certain heroes that he thrives with, especially with this. Fast attackers or people who can get multiple bodies, like a Samuro or like a Chen. Those people can get multiple procs off of this Ancient Blessings, which means that he can get a ton of value with certain teammates, as well as teammates that can jump in and out of fights really easy. So like a Tracer or Genji, you can toss down Qs in the middle of a fight, and then if a Tracer jumps in, deals some damage, she can jump out and get a heal and go back in again without you needing to pay attention to her. But again, you're not really as good as a Malfurion with her, but it's still kind of a unique thing. He's also good with people with large hitboxes, tanks with large hitboxes like Diablo, as you can throw your heals onto the tank. But I find he struggles with tanks with small hitboxes like Joanna, because you try to throw heals at Joanna, and you're pretty much always going to miss because she's always moving around, and her hitbox is so small it's hard to hit people with the Q. So your tank will need to be paying attention if they want to get heals. They'll need to be moving around and then coming back around to get a couple heals and then moving back in again. You can kind of toss heals in the direction that they're going, but sometimes that changes a lot in these medium length fights. So I really think that Deckard Cain wins in short fights because of his CC capabilities as well as bursty talents like Ancient Blessings, and he wins in long fights that allows people to move in and out of a fight that stays in an area for a long time, which is going to make him extra strong for objective-based maps where you have to sit on an objective for a long period of time, but it's going to make him struggle on maps that you might not have to sit on an objective and the fights are going to move around, like Haunted Mines or the Plant map. But Volskaya, Braxxis, Sky Temple, even Infernal Shrines, maps like that, I think that he'll thrive on for sure. So that is kind of my analysis of Deckard Cain in a replay, as well as talking about a little bit of his strategy. Yeah, and since some people asked they wanted to see the core die, here you go. Boom. There you go. Core's dead. I hope you guys all really enjoyed that. The other build that the other Deckard went looks like the same build that I went. What I've kind of found a little bit is people seem to mimic the builds that I play. Oh no, his is a lot different. I could change that. So he went with Rejuve Potion, which I think is better on this map because it allows you to. I mean, Ruby gets a lot of value, a lot of mini healing potions out, but I just didn't get a lot from that. And then Rejuve gets the healing over time. He went Emerald to reduce my healing. I don't think that's honestly that useful against a Deckard Cain. It's better against like an Alex Straza that you know where the healing's going to go and when it's going to go. He went Stay a While and Listen, which is I think it got a lot of value. And then the same scroll one, and he got the AoE healing from Q. Right now, until they nerf this talent, the level 13 talent, you shouldn't be going for anything else. But yeah, that's Deckard Cain. Hope you guys enjoyed. I have one more replay. If you guys want to watch me do another replay analysis, I can upload that later. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. I've got 3 videos of Deckard Cain out, one of gameplay, one of a replay, and one of just explaining his talents and abilities. So I don't think I'm going to go too much into anything else. But I do have one more replay that I could share with Deckard Cain if you guys really want me to. I can keep it a little bit shorter too. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to comment, like, share, everything else that YouTubers always ask for. Yeah, thanks for watching.